Now for the real deal New England feel.
I went off the rails. My wife told me I would be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth. He said something so damn funny to me before we came on the air, and I'm shocked right now that I'm able to hold it together and not laugh my ass off at this moment. But you are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, anyway, podcast. And when you're on there, you saw Joe put it up on the screen. Subscribe. Give us that thumbs up, hit the like button. That's what we're looking for from you. And leave us a comment. And if you want to leave a little more than a comment, give us a call in the heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S, 24/7 message line. Leave us a message. Have a take. Or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Got a good one in Weekly Rewind. We're going to go back, take a look at that Tennessee Titans game with the Patriots, that win, so to make it 4 in a row. So we'll talk about that, discuss some of those things. And, of course, Catone's comments. He tortured me last week. Catone's comments is back this week. We took a 1 week off, and you may have thought it was, Joe,
but Joe, he's been doing that a lot.
The checks weren't coming anymore, the way he was talking,
Come on.
And then we'll go B's and C's. They're both in C's. We've got a few things to talk about with the Celtics game. We are recording on Thursday, so they played that Philadelphia game last night. They got the Knicks tomorrow night, so we'll discuss that. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How's our week going?
Oh, wonderful. Listen, wonderful. Listen, Joe, Chris, we laughed at him. He should have never changed his picks from, remember, like way before when training camp first opened, we did early predictions. And I think he was at like 11, 12 wins. We thought he was nuts. Remember?
You had like 10 wins, Joe.
And then he changed it after, and he brought the number down.
Listening to us. He was listening to the two fools over here.
Yeah, right?
But I'm still wanting to pump the brakes. I mean, the schedule's so bad, Mark.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
It's these teams suck so bad.
Mostly the other teams that you guys talked about and their background, and I'm like, okay, which made me question some moments in some games,
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, let's get to it. So let's talk about that Tennessee Titans game. We're going to do it in Weekly Rewind. We're going to do it right now. Going back through the week, about a weekly rewind.
I think there's an athleticism to him that's really, really cool. I think he's really accurate from all different spots, whether it's in the pocket, off platform. I mean, he's really done a nice job so far and spreading the football around. But there's an accuracy to him that's been really good for us.
How do you describe his growth from your perspective? What would you say about the way he's grown?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of demand there from Josh and myself, and I think he's responded to that as far as the leadership that he's had to show this offense.
Josh's name.
Kept talking about he wants to earn it.
Josh
I mean, I've told him that he's earned it, and I think he doesn't like something in practice, then he gets it fixed. And if he wants a better Friday practice, then he talks about it before we go out there on Friday. And, I think those guys respond to him and the things that he says and the way that he, operates.
31-13, Mark, the final score in that Tennessee Titans game. And that was Mike Vrabel, of course, talking about Drake May. So let's start there. What are you making? Every week, Now he's fourth in the MVP voting. So anybody
every week he keeps.
Let me just give you a couple of little things, and I want you to respond. So he sets a franchise record for the highest completion percentage in a single game, 91.3, passing Tom Brady. First quarterback in Patriots history with 3 games in a single season with a completion percentage over 80, and 6 straight game with a quarterback QBR rate over 100. Patriots record is 8 by Brady. So he's at 6. 6 straight games. Yeah. So he was 21 of 23 for 222, 2 TDs, 135.9 quarterback rating. Stuff we're getting to places we haven't seen before with a quarterback.
Yeah.
Honestly, which is weird to say with this franchise, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes, but individual accolades are meaningless, right? With this franchise, it comes down to rings. Do you win a ring? Like, I don't, individual accolades are nice, but it's about winning, right? Can you win the ring? So
You're a grouch.
just,
You know
just
that?
well, no, just because of where we came from, Chris. I mean, you had a guy that's got 7 of them, so 6 with
Yeah.
us. So but anyway, but no, he is doing. Listen, neither one of us, Chris. I'm going to give May a ton of credit because neither one of us saw this coming. Not
No.
this type of development, this quickly, this soon, especially with. And we'll get to this later. Especially with this receiving core, who I know everybody thinks they're fine. They're fine now, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, just in a couple of minutes, we'll get there.
But Chris, he's way ahead of where I think you and I honestly thought he would be. Right?
Yeah, I mean listen. Look, it's the poise, it's the under control, it's the efficiency with which he does. Now, okay, is his passer rating, as far as his percentage, would it go down a little if he didn't run so many times? Put him, he ran for 8. He ran 8 times in this game for about 60 some odd yards, and he got hit quite a bit.
He did, but Chris, I think that's part of after those first couple of games, like the Raider game and the Pittsburgh game. I think that's part of, hey, take the sack, get out of the pocket, protect the football, no turnovers. I think that's all part of what Josh has been beating into him since those first early games when he struggled a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, and a couple things I'll say. We saw, as I said, in the New Orleans game. Yeah, I'm sorry, the Buffalo game. It was off script. Everything was off. Get out of the pocket, do this. Then in the New Orleans game, we saw him sit in the pocket a little more, step up, climb the pocket, do things. This game, saw him do that a little bit too. Now, I will say, if you really want to nitpick, he did create his own pressure a couple of times. In this game where I thought that the plays were there in the pocket to be made. I thought he kind of bailed a little too soon on some of this. But the big thing that I'm seeing with him, he's throwing guys open. This is NFL big boy football is what you see out of this kid, where if you flash before that ball's out, the receiver's not even at his break yet, and he's throwing these guys open.
Chris, the throw last week against the Titans, the touchdown to Booty in the end zone. So if you watch that throw, everyone's saying, oh, what a play Booty made. Booty stretched out and got the ball. Yes. Was the throw a little bit overthrown? All right, perhaps if we want to nitpick, yeah. But but if you watch, Chris, that throw, the over-the-top throw that he made, I like to call it like hugging the ceiling, right? He threw, it went shoot, and it dropped. I don't know, Chris, and you can describe this because you've coached offense, you've coached defense. That ball on TV, you can't tell, Chris, the difficulty of that throw, and just this. You said big boy football, big boy throws. That was a big boy throw, Chris. Not many quarterbacks in the NFL can make that throw. Mahomes, obviously, Allen, yeah. But back in the day, Chris, that was Aaron Rodgers' specialty.
Oh,
He
yeah.
made those throws. Rodgers can't do it anymore. He's old now. But back in the day, that was one of his specialties, right?
Like Russell Wilson.
That's a big boy throw, Chris. I don't know if the average viewer really understood what he did on that play. Like that
It's
particular
tough.
throw.
It's tough because you got to set up. See, he was on the move a little bit too. Okay. And then he's got to set back up again. You got to anticipate the speed of the route. Okay. And you got to anticipate where the top is going to be, where the top's being taken off. So that's how you gauge the arc and the trajectory of that 3 balls, how you're dropping that thing in there. And it's
right?
really, really hard to do. It's hard to do. So when we say, it was a little deep,
Yeah,
it
right.
was a great play by Booty too. It was, but the throw, the throw is legit. We're at the point now where this isn't just a one-off. This is now the trend. This is what this guy is. And now the better question becomes, and I want to talk about this in a second, and I don't know if you're saving this for your segment, is the receivers. Are you? Because if you are, I won't bring it up.
No, go ahead. I got stuff. No, go.
But the other, well, I'll get there, but how the team is looking at him. This is the other part of the intangible to playing quarterback in this league, to becoming great. And when you hear things like this,
I have the sense that you guys have something special going here.
No, I feel like right now we all just meshing really well. We still growing and going in a direction. You don't want to put the carriage before the horse and jump out there with statements and stuff like that. But I know that this team is growing closer day by day, not just on the field, but the more time that we spend together, makes you want to go out there and play hard for your brother. You know what I'm saying? The closer you get that team camaraderie, and football kind of breeds that like family environment. Spend a lot of time with a guy, you know what I'm saying? You get to know him personally, and you want to go out there and play hard. You want them to do well. You want guys to play well at a high level. And I just think, say something special. We'll figure it out at the end.
Only 2 incompletions today for Drake. Just what can you say about the level that he's been playing at for these last couple of weeks?
He's playing at a high level. I mean, he's being a quarterback. It's easy to say that, but he's finding an open man. Guys are making plays for him. Tight ends are playing well. Running backs catching the ball. Receivers, everybody's just doing their job. Try not to give it too much, but more so give it to the media to kind of figure that thing out. But when you see a guy in practice put a lot of time in, approach this thing the right way, it's no surprise to us. Hopefully you go 22 for 22. You know what I'm saying? So try not to give it too much, but know that we're going in the right direction. But it's a lot of plays we left out there too. So
that was Stephon Diggs. Now, I played that because what I hear there, now maybe it's his maturity. Maybe it's the fact that he's older, Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
But you didn't hear this kind of stuff in Buffalo.
No. Well, listen, I think part of that, Chris.
Not that it wasn't warranted to hear, but you didn't hear it.
No. And maybe you did in the local media in Buffalo. We don't know. We weren't there. I don't know. But from everything you heard nationally, that wasn't his. He seemed to be more of a disgruntled, never happy type of guy up there. Now, we could be totally off base with that. But the other thing, Chris, is I think this also goes back to, and I know you don't like the word. It goes back to that culture building that Vrabel has put in place here, Chris. That family got each other's back. I think it plays into that whole thing too. And you saw that in the post-game locker room when the guys gave Vrabel a game ball. For beating the Titans, and just busting his beans, and Vrabel turns around like he's throwing punches. You know what I mean? Like it's all part of that. You would have never saw Belichick do that.
No. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment, the coach's stuff. But again,
Chris, the other thing though, quick before we switch over, is Vrabel's comment that you played at the beginning of the segment when he's talking about May coming to practice on a Friday and not liking what he's seen and sets a tone on Friday.
Yeah, I like that.
That was something you didn't hear 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago from Vrabel. Now, whether or not it was happening and he didn't want to give him credit for it yet, because he was trying to get a, set a culture and a pattern, but that was almost, and I don't want to say it, but it was almost like Brady-esque, like Brady was that perfectionist. We're going to run this play 1,000 times until we get the goddamn thing right, guys. That was almost the type of comment he made. Vrabel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About that.
No, it's again,
he's just a kid still, Chris.
Yeah, he's got complete control of everything that's happening right now, and credit to McDaniels too for bringing it along. The bucket, fill in the bucket. Fill in the bucket, fill in the pail, fill in the cup, then to the bucket, then to more things. So
you and I questioned that, fill in the bucket, but I guess that's what he's been doing with this kid, Chris.
He has. And I want to talk about, so they ran the ball in this game, okay? And they haven't run the ball. And I wanted to, they rushed the ball, they ran the ball for 175 yards. Now, 62 of that was May, but over 100 yards with their backs. Was this more about them or Tennessee?
Was
that
this
they
more
were
about
able to run the
is
ball.
this more about a byproduct of the nose tackle getting injured and knocked out of the game?
I mean,
Simmons,
listen.
he
I
was
mean,
a
they
beast.
came
He
out of the
was a
gate running the
beast
ball.
early. They did, but he was a disruptor early, and then he goes out. But no, I think they made it a point, Chris, to run the ball because I think you could against Tennessee, and they did. My only concern is they're still not getting Henderson involved in this offense, Chris, which I just don't know about that. Is he just a bust? Is he an early bust? And Vrabel sees it, and he doesn't want to make a big thing out of it. And he's saying, well, he'll get his. Everyone's going to be involved, and he's a big part of the team, and he'll get his turn. It was just Ramondre's day. Like, I don't know. Yeah, he's saying that again for culture. What else is he going to say? You got nobody else back there that can run the ball. But I don't know if Vrabel's looking at this kid and saying, yeah, we probably shouldn't have wasted a second round pick on him. I don't know if
we're going to go there yet.
Let me ask you this. You think it's the pattern. I remember seeing this with Belichick, and I don't know if it was McDaniels, but there always seemed to be a pattern. Like every other week, it would be someone different, like a set of few players. Like, you'd see Gronk one week, and then the next week he would never catch the ball. And then the week after that, he would be the star again, or something like that. You think it's that sort of situation happening?
Well, the offense is designed that way. The offense is designed for 6, 7 guys to catch the ball, 8 guys. I mean, you see him spray that ball around to everybody. So it is. It's not an offense that's really designed for a superstar every down.
it's
chase,
not. But he's not even on the
him.
field, Chris. Is my point. He's not even on the field though.
No, and it's clear that he's not getting it. It's clear that Henderson's running to contact. It's clear all the things we pointed out last week that he's just not ready. It hasn't clicked for him. Do I think it's never going to? No, I think that there's talent in this kid that is there. He's just it just seems like the speed of the game. He hasn't slowed down for him yet.
Chris, the perfect example was Monday night, Detroit. Gibbs. He rushed for a 70-yard touchdown, Chris, but on the play, they give Jameer Gibbs the ball, and he almost hesitates for the line to open, holds there, dots through it, and then he cuts back, and he's gone. But Henderson wouldn't have hesitated, Chris. He probably would have ran into the line and got a 2-yard gain. Where Gibbs waited for a crease to open, and boom, he blew through it because he's got that kind of speed and athleticism. And I think Henderson has some of that. He's not Gibbs. He's not as fast as Gibbs, but I think he has some of that. He just hasn't learned the game yet, I guess, Chris, at the NFL level. You know what I mean?
Well, Joe, hopefully you watched that because I gave you that homework assignment last week. I said, next time Detroit plays, go watch Gibbs run.
I watched it Monday night. I was watching.
And it ain't because Joe asked that question last week. What is it about? And it's about his patience. So hopefully that'll click for him. They did run well. They ran the ball well. But and the last thing I'll say about the running game, we'll go to break. We come back. You wanted to talk about the wide receivers. So we could do that on the other side. That's fine. But was it more about scheme? Was it more about execution? Probably some of both. Because what I saw them doing out there, that first run to Ramondre Stevenson when they came out right out of the gate, they did a nice job. McDaniels did a nice job mixing up the zone. Okay, the zone running to, straight up head on hat running, as to how the blocking scheme would go. And it's that first play, if you really go back and watch it and you watch the design of the run, where it kind of looks like May turns his back, he opens as if it's going to be a left run, and the line's shifting to the left that way. But what they're really doing is just setting up backside blocking, and the wide receivers are getting involved in the blocking too. And Stevenson goes from the left all the way back to the right, and that's where the hole is. And it was a great design. I mean, you really watch it and you look at it, and you could see what you're looking at. They did a lot of things like that because I think the offensive line needs help that way. And that's why I think McDaniels isn't getting enough love right now because of how he's mixing things up. Because the offensive line they had decent moments, but they had some bad moments in this game. Yeah. Especially in pass pro. I thought Wilson had a tough game. I thought Campbell had a couple of Campbell's coming in again, roughly about halfway. He's about 50% of the tackles. That's where he's sitting, right now. So which I would like more from a number 4 pick, but it is what it is. So, I mean, give Drake May a lot of credit. Give McDaniels a lot of credit. They executed well. They're buying in. But I know you want to talk about the love that all these receivers are getting, right, Mark? So,
yeah. Well, I think one of them looked like Jackson Smith-Njigba this week, didn't he?
So let's do that on the other side. This portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by the Pats Nation Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, tune in tomorrow. Going to have our first look at the Cleveland Browns game. Going to break that down, all the nuggets you need to be able to go into that game, as it is the first pregame show. We come back, going to talk receivers, going to talk defense, we're going to talk a little coaching, and so much more. Stick around.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, before we get to the defense, let's talk about the receivers a little bit. We went a little long last segment, so didn't get to it there. But
It's all right.
I don't like what I'm hearing, Mark.
What are you hearing, Chris?
I'm hearing that everybody's just happy as can be with the talent level that we have.
Yeah.
These are serviceable wide receivers. These are guys that are getting the job done. When you have a number 1 quarterback, when you have a big-time quarterback that can elevate the play of other guys, you don't need a number 1. Oh, and I also heard this. And guess what? Going to be get ready to pay Drake May. Going to be getting ready to pay him. Therefore, we're not going to be able to pay a number 1 receiver. So, as long as he can keep elevating crap and mediocre guys, we'll be just fine. Doesn't take into account any of the competition, does it, Mark?
You have the 3rd easiest schedule
In history.
since 1978. These buffoons, these goddamn buffoons. Who the hell do you think you're playing against over here? You ain't playing, you know what I mean? Like, you're playing against the defenses you're playing against are the little sisters of the goddamn floor. So, of course, your receivers look better than they look, crying out loud. Are you kidding me? Hollins, what's Hollins? He's a goddamn thrower. He catches a ball once every, I don't know, right? What do you got? Pop Douglas? Pop Douglas? Well, are you kidding me? And then you got nobody else. What do you got on that? What do you have in the receiver room? Okay, you got Diggs. Diggs is good. Diggs is a good receiver. He is. And Booty's turning into a solid number 2 receiver. You don't have Jackson Smith-Njigba, who, by the way, after 7 games, has the 2nd most amount of yards of any receiver in the history of football.
He's the best receiver in football right now.
24 years of age or younger in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah.
Mark,
all you got to know is when the kids start abbreviating, you're the best. When they start saying JSN, that's what they call them now. JSN.
That's what my son calls them.
You've arrived.
Yeah. Listen. So listen, and you can draft those guys.
And by the way, who's not that far behind that's coming?
Who?
Is Ibuka.
No kidding. No, yeah, the other guy. Listen, Chris, you don't have to pay to go get one of these guys, Chris. So I don't want to hear that bullshit about, you can't pay. Well, first of all, you could pay both. You can pay the quarterback and the number 1 receiver.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah.
So if you draft well, and you don't got to have free agents up and down your lineup to fill in the gaps because you drafted so badly, you can do that. That's what good teams do who have good front offices and good draft rooms. That's what they do because they fill out their team with draft picks, not free agents. So I don't want to hear that garbage, Chris. You can go get a JSN or you could get an Ibuka. You draft them and you don't got to pay them for 4 or 5 years. So that's a bunch of horse crap that you can't pay both. And I know who said it, and those guys ought to be ashamed of themselves on the flagship. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I agree. Listen, I agree. Look, you're not, and they make the comment, the last thing I'll say, we'll move on to the defense. The last thing I'll say is this. I hear these comments of, hey, look at the best receivers in football, the best quarterbacks in football don't need big-time receivers. They don't need them. They don't need them. They don't need them. Name the guys that have won. Just like because Brady's on that list, I get it. Manning's on that list, although Manning had a lot of talent at receiver.
Manning had a Hall of Fame wide receiver with him.
Two of them, Reggie
Two
Wayne and him.
And Marvin Harrison.
And Harrison.
He had 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers, by the way.
Mahomes is an enigma. Mahomes is a different animal. What else? Give me another guy. Give me somebody else in the league. Give me another quarterback, whether it be Allen.
What is Allen?
What's his name in Baltimore?
What has Josh Allen ever won?
Burrow. Nobody. They've won nothing.
Burrow has.
And he has those guys. Yeah.
He's won nothing.
Right.
So,
my point is.
By the way, you don't think Jalen Hurts has a number 1 receiver over there? Of course he does.
Their argument to that would be, well, Jalen Hurts is not an ace. He's not a Brady. He's not a Mahomes. He's not this guy that can elevate other guys. Okay. Yeah. Well, you think Josh Allen? Nobody is. No one is.
Listen.
That's why they don't win. That's why Josh Allen doesn't win.
I don't know if Drake May can elevate guys to that level yet. Again, I'm going to go back to the fact you're beating the Little Sisters of the Poor.
Right.
Can he elevate them against a legit Super Bowl contender or playoff team? Can he go?
I'll tell you. Mark, I won't even give you that.
And those guys, can you elevate against that secondary and that defense?
Mark, well, we don't even have to go that far. Can you elevate this week against the legit NFL defense, which is coming into Foxborough this Sunday? I don't care what anybody says about the Browns. That defense is legit. Okay,
well,
they're good at the corners. They're good in the second. Yeah, I think they're good in the secondary. I think they're good at backer, and I think they're good up for Bush. They're good up front. They haven't seen that type of defense yet.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree with that.
We'll see. Well, tomorrow on the Pat Station, we'll talk more about that. So, Mark, you're right. You're 1,000% right. And it's going to happen again. This offseason is going to come, and guess what's going to happen? That once again, they're going to start that crap again, and they're not.
By the way,
receiver's not going to be important.
I'm going to go on record.
What?
Our 3rd-round draft pick is a bust. Stinks.
Yeah,
that kid's not going to be a top receiver in this league.
Oh, we never thought he would be.
The kid's not going to be a 1. The kid's not going to be a 2. So you wasted a 3rd-round draft pick on where you can get better receivers than him.
Right.
So, anyway.
Well, you and I said it from moment one that we wasn't even on our board. He's never going to get off press. All right. So, that's our rant on the wide receivers. But getting to the defense.
And don't get me wrong, Chris. You and I both like Diggs and Booty. We like them. But don't say that you don't need a number 1.
Nonsense. So
stuff that we saw today are things that have been an issue for this team all year. I mean, they basically stink in the middle of the field on the second level, and they really struggled to get quarterback pressure with only 4 guys. And I don't care, who's out there and who's not out there. That doesn't change the fact that the safeties are not good. The linebackers are not great in the pass, and they're underwhelming with a 4-man front as far as pass rush. So to me, that's the problem. And also finding a way to, make it work with, I see a coaching staff, that used to be with the Titans with Vrabel that never really had these sort of man cover corners that they have with Gonzalez and Davis and Marcus Jones. And they're having a tough time meshing it with what they want, what they normally do on defense. And until they get that figured out, they're going to continue to struggle and make guys like Spencer Rattler and Cam Ward, in the first half, look like Pro Bowlers.
And that was Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal, echoing everything I've been saying for.
You've been saying it for weeks.
Years, actually.
Well, years. Years.
Yeah. Listen, well, once again, they allowed Tennessee scores on the first 3 drives. They allow them into their end. They allow these teams into their end. And again, you said, well, who are we playing against? Who are we playing against again? Joe loves it. Say it
the
again.
Little Sisters of the Poor.
So that's who we're
t-shirts at that.
I'm telling you, and he's right, Joe, because the middle of the field again. And what he means by that is, look, our linebackers are what they are. I like Spillane. I like him as a secondary kind of guy, like the other off-ball linebacker. But these are not got him. Ellis, who's the other guy? Gibbons. I don't even say I can't even bring the word Tavai to my. these are not guys that can close gaps. These are not guys that can get sideline to sideline, that can take one of those. Why do you think that every one of these teams we're playing every week is throwing those wide receiver screens, those bubbles, those little flares out to the running backs on the edge? Because they know we don't have anything that can get in that funnel, that lane to the sideline and stop it after a yard gain, a loss, anything like that. You know, we had 5 quarterback sacks in this game, but everything came in the second half. You know, everything came in the second half of this game. You know, when I looked at the numbers in the first half of this game, they had where is it? They had 2 sacks, 2 of the 5. So they had 3 in the second half, and one of those was that strip kind of Cam Ward dropped the ball, you know, for that chase on play. So teams end up wetting down their leg because of who they are. Because, like Mark said, little sisters of the poor. So the linebackers are just not good enough, and it's what you have. That's not getting better this year.
No.
And safety's worse.
Yeah, safety's bad, Chris.
Duggar can't cover. He sits flat foot. When Hawkins is healthy, he's better, but not that much better.
Jalen Hawkins is no all-pro, but he's better than what we got right now. But, you know, he's not, you know, when he comes back on the field, he'll help a little bit, but he's not somebody that really should be a starting safety in this league either. He's a backup player.
And the other problem too, Mark, is Bedard mentions it. I've said it too. They're not getting enough pressure with their 4. They have to bring people.
Well,
they have to bring blitzes. They have to get guys off
Chris,
the edge.
You know what's funny is going back to week 1, everybody said, "Oh, Williams, why would he blitzed way too much?" And he probably did. And we know the poor man's out right now in medical and he's sick, and you know, but I think he was trying to find a balance. He probably blitzed too much that first week, but he knew, Chris, from probably what he saw in training camp, what he saw on tape, we're not going to get consistent pressure with 4 guys. We're going to have to design blitzes. He knew that week 1, Chris.
Yeah,
Williams knew that.
I never saw so much blitzing against the Raiders.
But he just went a little overboard. And I think eventually he would have dialed it back and found a balance. But he knew then, Chris, we're not going to get consistent pressure just with our front 4. They already knew that going in. They probably, I'm sure, Chris, these are the difference between this year and last year is these are professional coaches. And they knew watching tape. Yeah, we're not getting pressure with just 4. We're going to have to figure out a way to get pressure through some design blitzes and whatever. And so, but that continues to be an issue. But that brings it up.
Play caller.
So, yes, absolutely. And so we're going to have that problem. And listen out there, it's not something that it's easily solved. And this
week, Chris, how's that going to be fixed? Unless you make the trade deadline for an edge guy, that's not going to be fixed this year.
And guess what? By the way, Duggar was added to the injury list this week. Okay, so now you have limited in practice this week. You had all their safeties. You had Woodson with an ankle, Hawkins with a hamstring, Duggar had a knee. If those guys can't play,
that's a problem.
You're left with Del Pettis and Schooler as the only fully healthy safeties on the field.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's a position they just didn't address. They wouldn't address.
No. Nope.
So those are problems.
But then you release Peppers.
Exactly. Yeah. And so again, it's going to continue to be an issue all year long. It gets masked because of how bad these teams are that we're playing against, and then eventually you can be sure as hell they're going to play bad football.
Well,
okay.
Chris, you said to me Sunday, you said, "Mark, this kid Ward is bad.
Oh,
he's the number 1 pick in the draft. He's got a long way to go." You said, "Mark, he's bad."
No, he's bad. I mean, there were guys that were open. There were the things he could have done differently that would have. You know, so it's a bad football team. And fine, that's our schedule. Look, I mean, you know, we're saying all this. It is what it is. Maybe it gets better in the offseason, but don't worry. Vrabel understands that. He knows, you know. But Mark mentioned the team buy-in.
As players, we want to play for him. We want to go hard for him. We damn sure want to win for him. But, you know, he's a humble coach, so he's not going to make it about himself. Always going to be about the players. But for us, it is always personal, especially as one of our guys. You know, it's part of like having our guys back.
When you gain such a bond with your peers and obviously with your coach, man, they try not to make it more than ways to keep their guys level head, but you know it's personal for them. And we just want to play hard for them and give them everything we got to make sure they come out on top and they get the exact feeling that they would like to feel at the end of the game. So definitely with some extra juice on the defensive end to make sure that our guys, anybody that, you know what I'm saying, that came from this team or just was a part of this organization anyway, man, they got their revenge and they came out on top.
We all got his back, regardless of anything. And the people that was probably here, you know, we played for Braves, and no matter what, you know, but every game we played for Braves, and it felt good to get this win.
You know, it's another win at the end of the day, but I mean, it do mean more too to get a win for him. He's big for him too. So.
Did you hear that Vrabel chant at the end of the game?
Yeah, I did.
What was your reaction to that?
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, you have to ask him. I think he liked it.
Obviously, all week long, everyone did about Coach Vrabel coming back here. What has he meant to you guys, though? Not just, you know, but on a daily basis in helping you guys get to 5-2 where you want to be right now?
Yeah, he's man. He brings it every day. You know, I think he brings it every day. He challenges us, but he also cares about us and cares about us outside the building. And I think, he's just awesome to play for, and it's pretty cool in the locker room.
That was close. A bunch of players, including Drake May. Mark, is this real quick before we get to Catone's comments? Give me 30 seconds on this. Yeah. Is this what's putting this team over the top right now? Or are we overvaluing that? Are we out there making too much of this crap?
No, I think what it is doing for a team.
And I say crap. I don't really believe that, but I don't believe that it's crap. But go ahead.
No, I think, Chris, for a team like this who has some liabilities, some shortcomings, which, you know, I think for a team like this, it keeps them focused. It keeps them together. It keeps them having attention to detail because they got the coach's back, and that's what the coach expects. So in that sense, Chris, yeah, I think it definitely is helping to put them where they are because of those types of things too, Chris, like the attention to detail. They're going to go the extra mile. They're going to study that tape. They're going to do what they need to do because he's got their back and they want to play for him, and they got his back. So I think they both feed off of each other, Chris.
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, I've watched players do things that they
You've
can't
coached
do,
kids
that they shouldn't be able to do because they take the makeup on of the, they take on something else. They make it personal. They make an ownership of it. And as a coach, if you can get guys to do that, you're a pretty damn good coach, So, I mean, again, but let's just, temper it because, again, little sisters of the poor. I mean, look at Tennessee. Just real quick, Tennessee got the ball. Tennessee got the ball back before the half with 49 seconds left. Okay, with all three timeouts, they basically ran the clock out. That's what they did. That's what they chose to do. They chose to run the clock out with 49 seconds left from the 35-yard line and all three timeouts. That's who you're playing against. There it is. So temper it, everyone. Temper it. But that's our breakdown. Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, we're late, so when we get back, we're going to... You ready to go? Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Wow, Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's comments!
So listen, last week I got shut off last week. They turned me off. Turned off Joe last week. Listen, I'm back, baby. I'm back. Listen, so now I didn't really get a chance to finish last week. We were talking Yankees, Red Sox, and there were some things that we didn't really get a chance to finish talking about. when it came to that. So there's a few things I got to bring up, and then we're going to put baseball on the shelf until spring training, or at least until free agency hits and the signing of players. So, couple of things. First of all, I don't know if anybody watched the Dodgers game last week where Ohtani pitched the clincher against Milwaukee. The man hit 3 home runs. One of them, they estimated was 496. 466, 47. Listen, that ball was well over 500 feet because when that ball was hit, the entire dugout just stood up and was like in awe because they had never seen a ball hit like that. He hits 3 home runs. He has 10 strikeouts. He's a unicorn. He's whatever you want to call him. He's the best player in baseball, combination of everything he does, without question. He's going to become iconic if he continues this type of play and stays healthy. We talk about Ruth, right? Well, this is like he's like the modern day one of those guys. Like you never thought you'd ever see that again. One of those type of guys, like from that era. Well, that's what Ohtani is. Okay, that's what he is. But I'm going to say this. The reason I bring that up is, yes, to give him props, but also, did anybody witness the Dodgers locker room the night they clinched? There was no champagne, celebration. The job wasn't done. No, this isn't what we're here for. We got another one to win. Like, we're okay, you won the ALCS, great, high five, they're happy, whatever. But we got one more to go. This isn't what we're playing for. You watched the Yankees against the Red Sox when they won that series. It was like they won the goddamn World Series. Who the hell? You didn't do anything yet. Their locker room was like they won the World goddamn Series. That's the difference. That's what New York isn't anymore. What the Dodgers are, or what we used to be. We're not that anymore. We haven't been that in a very long time. Why? The owner is not his father. He's staying within a certain bottom line for profit. Cashman is a puppet for the owner. Cashman needs to go. Boone needs to go. It needs an organizational reset. You can't get rid of the owner. So you need an organizational reset of this team if they want to get where the Dodgers are. Because the Dodgers are going to win it. Don't get it's not a prediction. The Dodgers are going to beat Toronto. There's no way Toronto's going to beat that team 4 times. There's no way. So now the Dodgers put themselves in play to do what the Yankees did in the late 90s and early 2000s. They're gonna probably end up winning more World Series in this streak with this group of guys than the Yankees won during that run. They're just probably going to, because then they're going to go spend more money in free agency and bring in a couple of more guys. That's just how this team is built right now. That's what this owner is doing. We don't have that leadership anymore as part of the Yankees. They resurfaced an interview this week of Derek Jeter, and Harold Reynolds from MLB Network says to him, "What's the greatest year you ever had?" He named the 5 years they won the World Series. That's what he named. And Reynolds looked at him and he said, "It's not about personal accolades. This is the New York Yankees. It's about championships and winning." He said, "So those are the 5 best years I've ever had." He said, "Not 1 year, the 5 best years I ever had, because we won the championship, and that's what the fans here expect. We're the Yankees." And I thought about that, and I said, Jesus Christ, where is that mentality? Who has it on this roster? Nobody. Judge, none of them have that mentality. They just don't. It's gone. They don't have it. They don't have anybody that can infuse it. They don't have a manager that can infuse it. So when we talk about what are the Yankees going to do, who are they going to sign moving forward, you're going to bring, first of all, you can start with bringing that mentality back. Jeter's mentality. The guys that were part of that team, Jeter, O'Neal, Bernie Williams, Pettit, Mariano, they all had that mentality. This team's got nothing besides being fundamentally flawed. Who's going to bring that back to this storied franchise? It's disgusting sitting back and watching the Toronto Blue Jays go to the World Series. Has anyone really looked at that lineup and really analyzed that lineup? What they got other than Guerrero, Springer, okay, every so often, yeah, okay. But if you looked at the rest of the guys on that team, they're the representative of the American League. That's what the American League has become. You can't get past that as the New York Yankees. Yeah, we went to the World Series last year with an extremely flawed team, and you only made it because Stanton and Soto got incredibly hot against Cleveland, and they stole that series. Yes, they stole it because of those two guys. They had no business. They shouldn't have beaten Cleveland. And guess what? You wouldn't have went to the World Series last year either. So, listen, I had to finish this baseball season out with just setting the stage for the off season because we had so much to talk about last week. We kind of rushed a little bit, but that's where the Yankees are. They don't have that mentality, genius mentality anymore.
Because the ownership doesn't have it anymore. That's why.
If they had it, Chris, Boone would have been fired. What the hell is Boone still sticking around here for? He should have been fired the day after the season ended. Thank you. The father would have said, "Thank you for your service."
He wouldn't even have thanked him for service. He would have attacked him in the locker room.
I mean, come on. This is ridiculous, Chris. What this franchise has become.
It is. You're the New York Yankees. You. The name itself deserves better than what the hell they're producing right now. That's it. And so we'll and the sad part is I don't see anything. It doesn't look like anything's going to change anytime soon. Mark.
Then they brought up this week, Chris. Well, you probably could pry Bryce Harper. Really, they'd like to probably get out of the last couple of years of his contract. Bryce Harper has been a Yankee fan since he was a little kid. He wanted to come here when Philly signed him, and Philly brought him in. Go for him. You got to give up a prospect. Let him play first base. You'll rejuvenate him in Yankee Stadium. And if he stays healthy, Chris, you'll have one of the best hitters in baseball back in your lineup to go along with Judge. And by the way, when he gets to the playoffs, Harper's clutch. You can't get him out in the playoffs. He's clutch when he gets on a roll. So go bring him back. Go trade for him. Who cares?
So, and that series is going to be a sweep, by the way, with the Dodgers. That's what I have.
Oh, that's going to listen. If Toronto wins a game, Chris,
I'll be shocked.
Shocking.
Yeah.
So, funny, Mark, just to interject about of all people, Boone's the one. And I don't know if you guys remember the quote that Derek Jeter gave to him in Game 7. They were down against the Red Sox, where he said, Derek told me the ghost would show up eventually, meaning the ghost of the Yankees. And he hit that home run to win. And he's now the coach, and you don't see any of what you were just talking about, any of that idea come out of his voice at all.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Boone doesn't even embrace, Chris, their history and their past. Joe's right. That's a great point, Joe. He doesn't even talk about it or embrace it. You know, it's weird.
He's become a puppet for what the regime is, and that's who he is. That's what they are. It's an analytically driven guy, a coach, system, and all the rest of it, and driven by the dollars and cents. And it's disgusting to watch our New York Yankees be reduced to that type of situation. So bad enough the Red Sox are, let alone the New York Yankees. So good stuff, Mark. Catone's comments was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we're going to have our breakdown of that Cleveland Browns game. Take a look at that. All of the breakdown. We're going to have our Sunday spread, our picks of the week. So stick around for that. When we come back, going to talk B's and C's. Bruins and Celtics are next.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, let's talk Bruins and Celtics, B's and C's. Joe.
Hit it! It's over. The Boston Celtics are the world champions, and they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are. Screen shot.
Yeah, it's just obviously it's a lot of build-up. We've been here for a while now, so just a lot of emotion, a lot of waiting around to play a game that I've been looking forward to. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be fun to be in the building again. Play against the guys of the first game against the Bruins. It does feel different. But I mean, I think staying in the hotel and everything in the city is definitely a different feel. But you come in here, it still feels like it has the last 15 years. So. Still feels like home. Still love it here and everything. It's just on a different journey now, and it'll always have a special place in my heart. I loved every second here, and as soon as I saw my kids on the screen, it kind of hit like a ton of bricks, and I just the memories and the emotions of everything, just the years and the years and the incredible times, and it just kind of come pouring into your memory, and it's just crazy to see. There's a lot of things that I forget, and the years all kind of bunched together. The careers go by fast. It doesn't matter how long you're in; it goes by extremely fast. And to see, a snapshot of that in a clip like that, it brings everything back, and just the amount of pride, like I said, that I had, that I played here and was part of this organization. I just couldn't hold it in, so it meant a lot.
That, of course, was Brad Marchand coming back to Boston for the first time since becoming a Florida Panther, and that was before and that was after the game, and they did a nice video tribute to him, and he got real emotional.
He did.
Tears were coming out, and he proceeded to have a good two assist game with a pass at the end of that game that was spectacular pass to set up one of the final scores to win that game for the Panthers. So I wanted to just play that because, obviously I like that kind of player. I liked him when he was here, the type of player he was, how he did things. You love him when he plays for you, that kind of guy.
Chris, when I was watching the tribute to him, I was watching it, and I said, my son, we were watching him. I turned to my son. My son actually turned to me and said, "Damn, how did that era only win one Stanley Cup?"
One, yeah,
right?
Really, it's ridiculous that they only won one. I couldn't believe that either. Yeah, that's a great point.
That group only won one.
One. It's an 11, and he was a rookie.
Yes.
It's amazing to me that. But looking at it quick, and we'll get to the Celtics in a second. They started off strong, 3-0 in the season, and they were playing the kind of game they want to play. Then they lost 5 in a row. They went on that road trip they went 0-3 on the road, and then lost the next couple. So, Mark, what's odd to me about this team, is they want to play. We talked about they're going to play a certain way. It's going to be a defensive style team. They're going to bog teams. Not going to be a team that you hate to play against because they don't give you any room in the zone. They don't give you any room in the neutral zone to easily get the puck in the zone. They keep the puck out of the net. They keep guys out from in front. Okay, you haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen that.
I think there's just a lack of top end talent, Chris. So even though that's what they want to do, I don't know if they got the talent to even do it, Chris.
Mark, they don't. They're soft.
Yeah, this team's.
But if you're going to be a team that plays like that or wants to play like that, Middlestat, soft.
Chris, they're going to have a long season. I think it's going to be a long.
Did you see in that game, Lorai? Lorai got handled on his stick side, so weak to allow that breakaway. I think it was to Bennett.
Yeah, it was to Bennett.
So if you're going to be that kind of team, you don't have the horses to play that way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't have the horses.
So, I mean, I'm not sure what the hell this team's going to be, but and Middlestat was called out by a former GM in this league. as to just being, hey, if you want to be a team that wins, stay the hell away from Middlestat. Stay clear of that guy. I love hockey analysts, so they just let it fly. They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
you know?
no, they don't give a shit. Listen,
so let's still. I mean, we're gonna keep track of it because this is not how they were built.
No.
And Swayman, the same thing in that game. I mean, there were a couple of shots he gave up that very weak, very soft. Didn't fight to get back.
All right, listen. I had enough talking about the goddamn Bruins. Forget the Bruins. Let's go to the South. You're getting me disgusted over here talking about this team. They're 3-5. That's it. They stink right now. Go to the Celtics, would you?
Threes because your personnel is allowed for it these past few years. You guys are employing a faster paced style this year. Is the process of getting to those changed at all because of the faster pace? Does it lend to it differently, or is it just the same process?
I've answered that question 100 times. Find the 2-on-1, make the right play versus the 2-on-1. That's that simple. Could be a 3, could be a layup. Find the 2-on-1, do it. I've answered that for 2 years now. Find the 2-on-1. What does the 2-on-1 present? Are there 2 shooters on the 2-on-1? There's 2 shooters on the 2-on-1. You pass, you get an open shot. There's not 2 shooters on the 2-on-1. You cut. You create a 2-on-1 in a different way. I've answered that for 3 years. Why do we keep asking that? Then create 2-on-1s. Find a 2-on-1. Everybody should be able to answer that question verbatim based on my answers to that question for almost 3 years now.
Well, guess what, Joe? You didn't do it last night. You couldn't put a shot down. You couldn't do it.
Last year, there was 38% three-point shooters in a 2-on-1 situation, so it was a pass shot. This year, there may not be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter on a 2-on-1 situation, so that 2-on-1 may be created off a cut, and then you can create a 2-on-1 in a different way. Then the cut allows us to get an offensive rebound. I don't understand. That's why it's so hard. I said it for 3 years. I mean, you just keep ignoring what I said. Find a 2-on-1, make the right play versus a 2-on-1. For however long I'm here, that will be the offensive philosophy.
That's bullshit, Joe, okay? That's bullshit, Joe, at Missoula, and here's why, Sleepy Joe, okay? Because I remember 3 years ago, you talking about the most important shot in basketball is the three-point shot, and that's what you got to work to get, and you got to, the percentages and all of that crap, and you hug that. Now all of a sudden you want to make it about, find the 2-on-1s, find that. It may not be the three-point shot. Well, if it's 38% guy, then you got to take that shot because the numbers equal out that way, right? But now it's, no, we're going to hedge our bet now. It may not be the 3. No, he wants the three-point shot. By the way, Mark, losing to Philadelphia, 117 to 116.
They took 43 of them.
They took 43 of them. They were only 11 of 43, 25%. So they crap in that. They crap themselves there. But where were the 2-on-1s in that game?
None.
Because I didn't see much of that. I didn't see them searching for the 2-on-1s.
Down the stretch, Chris, you got the lead, right? They had the lead. You mean to tell me he's talking about cutting to the basket to create? Well, there was no cutting to the basket to create anything, Chris.
No. Again, I don't see them playing the way he's bitching at the media. Who the hell and all? Who the hell do you think you are? I don't know why you guys should be able to do this, but verbatim. Look, you're a mediocre coach. You're a mediocre coach. Mark said it 8,000 times. If Denver doesn't get knocked out of that friggin' playoffs, you don't have a ring because you weren't beating that team.
Somebody had to beat them for them, and they out west, and they did. And that's
don't give me this crap, Joe. That as long as I play here, this is the way it's going to be. Yeah, you're changing you're changing your rhetoric from what it was about the 3-pointers, and now it's the 2-on-1. Search out the 2-on-1s, and you're all pissed off doing it. So why don't you just take the attitude, stick it, and you know what? Oh, how about this? How about try to run a play to get it into your best player's hands with minute left in the game? Listen to this.
I mean, no. You don't like those at all?
Not the baseline one at all. 1.6. There has to be the ball has to go to a guy that can elevate himself out of trouble. There's nothing wrong with Peyton Pritchard, but like when you're 6'1" and you can't elevate, like Jaylen Brown can get the. Let's go back to the Indiana Conference Finals 2 years ago. He had no business making that shot, but he's a freak of nature. So that ball has to find him. The best players in the world get the ball with under 2. And and I'm all in on Peyton Pritchard. Don't get me wrong, but that ball is like a secondary
Should be
piece
taking
to
that
Pritchard.
shot.
That ball has to get into Jalen Brown's
No.
hands.
Is that a factor of they just haven't been in this position where they have to, like Anthony Simons is inbounding the ball, hasn't been here.
I don't know about all that. Like, it's Jalen Brown has to get the ball. 1.6, they had a play. It was the slash play. Jalen Brown has to tell people, listen, I want the ball in this area right here. You cut through, you go there. I'm going to catch the ball right there. I'm going to go to work. And that's what being special is.
Yeah, listen, I know we're over. I get it. But, Mark, last 3 possessions, Peyton Pritchard takes the shot. Why aren't they working to get the ball to Jalen Brown? Why isn't he working hard enough to get credit to Scal? Good job, Scal, for calling this friggin' team out. Because all the rest of those commentators and these green teamers out there want to blame the roster. Oh, it's the roster's fault. These guys aren't playing together. Oh, bullshit. Are you kidding me? You're supposed to have a guy that's a top 10 guy in the league, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He doesn't touch the ball for the last 3 possessions?
Yeah. Chris, listen. But listen, all of a sudden they decide. Now, I don't know who called the timeout there at the end. What was it, like 9 seconds to go or something?
It was Brown who did it.
It was Brown.
Missoula wanted him to go.
It wasn't Missoula. I was just going to say, because Missoula typically in those situations, Chris, will not stop the clock. He'll let it roll.
He was motioning to him to go.
But wait a minute. So they called the timeout, though, Chris. Okay, fine. So now you do call the timeout. You couldn't design something to get Brown the ball out of a timeout? That was the best you could come up with out of a timeout. To your point, he's a mediocre X's and O's coach.
He is. He's not an in-game coach. I get it with the 1.6. Pritchard, whoever had the ball was going to have to take the shot. Get that. But the possession before that, nonsense.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of nonsense. So I don't want to hear about it, Joe. You better figure out a way to get the ball in your best player's hands. And by the way, Jalen Brown, you better figure out a way how to demand the damn ball into your hands if you want to be the guy that you say we should see you as, okay? Yeah. The number 1 guy. So credit to Scal. So I just had to play that because that pissed me off. So,
yeah, all right.
But moreover, so Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, tomorrow we're going to have our full pregame breakdown of the Browns game, Sunday spread. We're going to make you some money. Come back next weekend, noon Eastern, to this show. We're going to talk more Patriots, including our recap of that Browns game, B's and C's, Catone's comments, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.